Hello, and welcome back to the channel. So, today, I'm actually going to be talking about why I love hockey so much, and why do I make videos on hockey. So, if you haven't already noticed, I upload a ton of hockey videos. Well, started to upload a ton of hockey videos. And I figured, why not kind of do what a bunch of other hockey YouTubers do. I have taken inspirations from guys like Steve Dangle, the hockey guy, Urinating Tree, even Bar Down, and Hot Take Hockey. As they talk about hockey a lot, Urinating Tree does more than just hockey, but I did find his channel from the Haters Guide to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, or even the Haters Guide to the Stanley Cup Final. Another channel I watch, or used to watch, is the Canadian Jock. He talks a lot about hockey, like controversies, bad calls that the refs made, and so on and so forth. So I felt maybe I should try that. I uploaded my first hockey related video. It was actually a short where I tested out the Bauer Pulse hockey stick. My girlfriend took the video and she was the one that gave me the idea to upload it to YouTube, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, you know what, upload it to YouTube, see what happens. It is one of my most viral videos across 3 different channels. However, I do this for fun. If a person likes my video, then that means I made one person entertained, and that to me is a win. That's a win in my case. I don't do this for the money. I don't do this for fame. I do this just for fun. That's why I started making a lot more hockey videos. I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying making these videos, so I'm going to continue doing it. So, why did I get into hockey? I got into the sport of hockey at a young age. As my dad's the one that showed me my 2 brothers our first NHL game. Like, I would watch it on TV. It was always a thing on Saturday nights where we would watch a Montreal game on TV. And that's when I started liking Montreal. That's when I started liking the Habs. And they've always been my team. I do have a second favorite team outside of Montreal, which you could probably tell by the background. I have a Washington Capitals jersey hanging in a shadow box, which I actually have a custom one laying somewhere. I do cheer for Washington. That is my second favorite team. I mentioned that before. And the history behind that jersey right there is I bought it after the Caps won the Stanley Cup back in 2018. Their only cup. I bought that to commemorate their win. I didn't end up buying another one until 2024, where I bought my custom one, which has my birth year at the back. That's the jersey number with my last name. I bought my first Montreal jersey back in 2019. How ironic. The year before, I'll buy a Caps jersey. The following year, buy a Habs jersey. But the Habs jersey I bought, which you've seen in a previous stream, It was the Minnesota Wild stream where the Habs faced Minnesota, and then in the Habs recap, I put that jersey on. That specific jersey, I bought from the Bell Center when I was camping in Quebec, or just outside of Montreal. I bought that, and then I also bought the Finale de la Coupe Stanley Cup final patch when the Habs made it to the Stanley Cup final in 2021. God, I hate that year. More on that later, but I really don't want to talk about 2021 and Montreal. That's still heartbreaking to me, but I'm sure there's Leaf fans probably laughing at that still, even though they haven't won a cup since 1967. And I've wore that jersey throughout. Every home opener, every season opener, I'd throw the jersey on. I didn't watch my first NHL game until February 22nd, 2020. This was right before the pandemic happened. And I went to my first Montreal game. Not in the Bell Center. I saw them take on the Ottawa Senators at the Canadian Tire Center, which is actually a pretty decent arena. It's nice. But what was even more nicer is that 90% of the fans there were Habs fans. I do have a funny story about that, as during that game, towards the end, they played a clip from the Leafs Hurricanes game where they announced that David Ayres, the Zamboni driver that worked for the Toronto Marlies, still works for the MLSE, defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs. They played the ending of that. And in the stands was a Leaf fan. They pointed at the Jumbotron to the Leaf fan, and the entire arena erupted with laughter. It so happens that I get back to the hotel, and I see a video uploaded by Steve Dangle, where he loses his mind. He loses his mind at Toronto, and loses his mind at the fact that the Leafs lost to a 42-year-old Zamboni driver who works for them. It's still hilarious. Which actually, I have a signed puck from David Ayres when I went to go to the Sports Card and Memorabilia Expo in 2021. I think it was 2021. And I got to meet Brett the Hitman Hart. I know he's not a hockey player, but I got to meet him. And then I got, I think, 3 signed pucks. A David Ayres signed puck, a PK Subban signed puck when he was with Montreal, and an Alexander Romanov signed puck, which I believe I still have. Then go to 2023, early 2023, I met Arber Xhekaj. And I have outside my room, I have a signed photo from him. Fresh off his rookie year. It wasn't until later where I got to meet Carey Price. I do have a photo of me and him. I looked nervous because he's intimidating. Same as Xhekaj. Xhekaj was intimidating too. And outside in my living room, in another shadow box, is a signed Carey Price jersey. A brand new one too. I made the impulse decision and bought a authentic Carey Price jersey just for him to sign. And that is one of my favorite things I have in terms of collectibles and memorabilia, along with the wall of putts on my shelf. Later that year, or actually before the Sports Card Memorabilia Expo, I saw my second Montreal game. It was Leafs versus Habs at Scotiabank Arena. This was the preseason, so the tickets were cheap. However, this was right when the preseason was ending, so we saw a glimpse of what the home rosters would be, the main rosters would be. And the Habs won. They won 4-3 in overtime. Now, a lot of you guys know that I got into the sport of hockey from when I was a little kid. And I always watched it. It was a tradition every Saturday night. Hockey night in Canada. I know I haven't been watching a lot of hockey lately. I've started to. But I still pay attention to the sport. Always will. I pay attention to hockey more so than I do with wrestling. Which, one of my comments on my Turk Lesnar video actually said I was a stereotypical wrestling fan who loves eating pizza rolls and ranch. Actually, I am a wrestling fan. I've went to one wrestling event. Friday Night SmackDown. I got to witness Edge's last match in the WWE before he went to AEW. But the thing with wrestling, with WWE and NHL and hockey, I never fell out of hockey. I always followed it, always try to watch the games. With wrestling, I stopped watching it for a while. Stopped watching it. It wasn't until, I'd say, 2023. 2023 is when I got back into it. And I don't know. I just love hockey better at this point. I do love the old wrestling like WWF, ECW, and WCW, but again, that's for a different video. I'm gonna try to upload more hockey content, and not just from the NHL. I'm gonna try to talk about the OHL, or even the CHL, which is the minor leagues. Talk about the AHL a little bit, which is a step down from the NHL. Even talk about international hockey, as I say in every single one of my Talking Puck videos. I try to cover NHL, minors, and minor leagues, and international hockey, meaning the IIHF. And I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to make more videos on hockey, not just the NHL. I may also review some of the older games. Like, when I mean by older games, I mean like the old NHL games. Like, actually rewatch some of them. Even do a history of a team. Like, if a team that's no longer in the NHL, I talk about their history. I did want to talk about Hartford. about the Whalers, especially their last NHL game, which I've watched over and over because it's on YouTube. I've rewatched the '93 Stanley Cup Final, specifically Game 5. I rewatched the 2018 Stanley Cup Final, specifically Game 5. But I figured I'd do a little bit more like that. My girlfriend gave me the idea of ranking my favorite NHL games, like the actual video game, from worst to best, and that might be on my gaming channel, which I will leave a link in the description to that. If you guys want to check out my gaming channel, it's called N2O Sonic, where I stream almost every single Wednesday. I stream NHL 26. Not like that's any better. The last few times it sucked, but I do it for fun. I do have a retrospective video coming out on this, which is actually one of my favorite NHL games of all time. ESPN NHL 2K5, which, if you guys know who he is Montreal's head coach. He was also a star player on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Helped Tampa win the Stanley Cup in 2004. As much as Flames fans don't like it. But again, I have a lot more videos coming out. I know this is a long video. I'm not going to do any edits or even an intro, but I just wanted to come out here and talk to you guys about why I loved hockey and how I got into it. For those that want to watch more of my videos, you can. I have a playlist up on my channel on every Talking Puck video. Which I'm gonna do that by season. So 2026, the 2025-26 season, that's gonna be season 1. And then I'll do one for the next season. I don't know when season 1 will end. I know season 2 will start roughly around the preseason, but I'll figure it out. But that's it for this one. Definitely click that big red subscribe button. It helps my channel out a lot. Hit the bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. And I'm probably going to have a Talking Puck video coming out tomorrow, as this is a double upload. I made an episode of Talking Puck, and now I'm doing this one, which is a first, but I wanted to talk about this for a while. I've had it in my mind for a while, but now I can finally do it. I am going to have a recap, a Habs recap tomorrow, hopefully. But again, Talking Puck is going to be the big focus. But that's it for this one. This is Colin signing out. Have a good one. And I hope to see you guys back.